Don't we love like oil? Don't our slippery arms pave the pores of those who need us? Don't we suffocate with our embrace? Hasn't our sheen of pink slips and half-hearted handouts sucked the air from blue-collar lungs? Aren't cardboard boxes as porous as dollar bills? Don't we infiltrate? Isn't our heart amorphous? Aren't we a slow build and a tight grip? Don't countless dumb animals struggle their way from our grip? Doesn't Europe's fur still glisten from the crude of our aid? Doesn't the Middle East smell like us? Aren't we just like oil? Is it any surprise when it leaks from our bowels into once pristine oceans? Don't we muddy the waters? Don't we smear our babies' asses with petroleum jelly? Don't we air commercials for coal on CNN? Isn't oil us? Isn't it slippery, but insistently vital? Isn't it the only black thing we're not afraid of? Isn't it us? Isn't it symbolic how it slips out, how it once was life, how we need it, how it kills us? Don't we love symbolism? A great white nation with no control of dark things, dirty things, moving things. Isn't it what we know? Isn't it what we believe in? True press conferences too late, a wellspring of good intentions strangling the seascape. Isn't it angry? Isn't it unstoppable? Isn't it us? Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who made this happen, the endlessly beautiful Sarah Browning. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for letting me be here and for being here. It is endlessly humbling and inspiring to look down and be reminded of the amazing shoulders upon which I am allowed to stand, and that is what this night is about. I always say that I am never more political or active or aware than when I am reading about my work, which is teaching. So this second and final piece that I'm going to give you guys is for all of my fellow teachers, educators, people who are invested in the well-being of people who need us to be invested in it. Day one of James's standardized assessments finds us in the room that my students have nicknamed the testing closet. In its close confines, I can smell that James hasn't bathed in at least 4 days, and I can see the distinctly unmedicated darting of his eyes. I am not expected to include any of this in the report that I will write for James's last education plan. For that, I am to focus on how James responds to writing prompts like the one with the picture of the boy with 2 robots. Students are to compare the robots using the word however. No one ever uses however correctly. When he sees the picture, James asks me, Mr. August, can we name them and shit? I am tempted to include this in the report, as well as the discordant symphony created by James's rumbling stomach and muttering mouth, because nobody at the shelter where he's been staying is required to feed him or administer his schizophrenia meds. When he sees it, I ask him if he is in need of a break. He simply tells me, it's cool. I think I got this. I don't know how to teach the kind of mechanical resolve required to compel a barely literate young man to write sentences in a tiny-ass room for hours, just days after the police removed him from his new foster home, because something in the stability there must have flared up those old episodes again, and he's been stealing shit again, then pissing on floors and mattresses again. Day 2 finds me without James. Day 3 finds James just hours after being released from the hospital, because the guys at the shelter don't see the unmedicated schizophrenic. They don't see the 21-year-old high school student who won't even get a diploma. They just see the motherfucker who stole their shoes. And from across the testing closet table, I can distinctly make out the 3-inch unstitched gash in James's scalp from where they dragged him into the street by a fistful of his tracks. It is gaping like the most cynical of mouths, issuing a reminder that black and retarded are the only 2 strikes you need to be out in this world that I am supposed to be preparing him for. But I won't include any of that in the report. Instead, I will write that James has given the only response to the robot prompt in 7 years that has made me cry. He wrote, the boy has 2 robots. However, he loves them both. Who taught James love? Not the birth mother who could never choose the miracle in her stomach or the boy in her arms, or the hell she let march through her veins until her death. And if I'm being honest, it wasn't me either. Because despite the close confines he occupies in my heart, the rest of me is bound to a system that just wants a report, and I will write it with a prayer. Because sometimes a prayer is the closest thing a teacher has to control. I will write it with the desperate belief that something in my time with James has built a shield for him. That For all of my students, I am a balm to bruised skin, a lullaby, sung inside beaten hearts. I will write it, stealing James's own line. It will read, in 7 years, I have taught over 100 students. However, I love them all.